Hey, what is going on Facebook? What's going on Clubhouse? This is your boy Big Mar. We are here live on Clubhouse for the Genesis Block Live, man. We got amazing news this morning. We got my man Bitcoin Zay King Bless from the Gentleman of Crypto. They're about to hit us with this week's news and updates and topics. And I'm going to just go on, let it turn it over to them. What's going on, Zay? What's going on, Bless?
Is worth $1.2 million. And he still has that mouse pad. I would have burned it every time I looked at it. I would have been mad. But yeah, this is one of the funny stories that was sent in the Cointelegraph. Me and King gave our funny stories. Mine was recent. To get my IG back, I actually had to find somebody in crypto who was in security as well, and I paid them in crypto as well to get my IG back. So again, a lot of use cases in this case. If I had to do it the regular way, I would have to wait for Instagram, wait weeks, maybe months, and then pay in USD if I wanted to get verified. All of that stuff was missed because of crypto. So we just gave our funniest or craziest crypto stories, and I know everybody on stage has one as well.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Because the people on YouTube, he said loud and clear. Let me make sure they too loud. So the people on YouTube were saying that they couldn't hear us this morning. I just want to let everybody know I just finally got my system back up and going. It had fritzed out on me. So thank the Gentleman of Crypto this morning for that news. People on YouTube and Clubhouse, I know you guys didn't get to hear everything. I mean, YouTube and Facebook didn't get to hear everything. But what they were talking about today is that two sports teams, the Oakland Athletics, they are talking about accepting Bitcoin, and then the Miami Heat are thinking about getting their stadium renamed with some Bitcoin company. What Bitcoin company was that again?
FTX.
So FTX. We are very familiar with FTX in the city. Yeah, we definitely like to hear that. And then they talked about their craziest Bitcoin stories. So here's the thing. So the topic for today is, all right, we had this topic a couple days ago, but does size matter when it comes to the price of Bitcoin? And what I mean by that is it too late, panel? Is it too late for people to get in? Because I know people saw over the weekend the price got all the way up to 62,000. It pulled back a little bit, but does size matter when it comes to the price of Bitcoin?
No.
Definitely not.
I get really irritated when I see people in the comments saying, well, you don't put your money in Bitcoin. It's too high. It's got to get to 100,000 for you to double your money. Those people are only looking at it for the monetary gain. Don't be those people. We're looking at it as an asset, as a future store of value. So if you're looking at it as a store of value and as an asset, it is definitely not too late. And size does not matter.
I think of Bitcoin at $1 million. So anything under that is cheap. I mean, if it does hit that point in the next 5 years, who is going to be sitting there saying, I wish I bought it at 55,000 instead of 60? It's not going to matter. And I think also when I started a long time ago, I thought I was late. By the time I got it in, the people I was talking to had already 200x. So it doesn't matter when you start. You're going to think you're late. You're going to think it costs too much. And you have to remember you're buying a percentage of a supply, a scarce supply, getting more scarce by the day. And this is actually a better way to hold your money. So it's not a price point on it. Bitcoin has no top because fiat has no bottom.
Facts.
And looking at a price point, is it ever like, and I like how Bitcoin, he's been consistent with saying he thinks Bitcoin is going to be $1 million one day, but being consistent with that, whether it's $1 million or 60,000, let's say it just stays at 60, is it ever too late to accumulate $60,000? I mean, it's a store of value. It works. So even if we were to stay at the price point, and I'm with Crypto Quavo as far as people are just looking at the price, so that's the wrong way of doing it. But even if it stayed at 60,000, who doesn't want a $60,000 asset? So I don't think the size matters.
Yeah, you said something very, very profound right there, King Bless. It's like, if you think about it, if you wanted a piece of let's say there's a car you like a Tesla or something, and you're like, man, I can't afford a Tesla, but somebody told you, look, you could put some money down. Shoot, we black folk, we understand about putting some money down on something. You know what I'm saying? You could put some money down and accumulate enough so you could get your Tesla. You would probably go out and do it tomorrow. You'll probably put $50 down a week until you finally got your Tesla. So why are you not doing that with something like a Bitcoin, right? It's still an asset that actually gains value. And this is the thing I wanted to talk about really quickly. There's a difference between value and price. Price is what the market is willing to give you at that moment. Value is what you literally have done your research on and figured out for yourself. So for Zay, value is $1 million. In his mind, everything less than $1 million, any price that's less than $1 million is a discount. So he's going to continue to buy. Everybody has a different value of what they think something is, and that's always determined by the amount of information that you have around it. So all we try to do is make sure we give you enough information so that you can determine the value for yourself. Now, I'm not going to tell nobody what I think my value is, because people tend to go, well, shoot, I'm going to do what Lamar says. This is what I want you to do. I want you to look at all the benefits of Bitcoin, all of the fundamental features of Bitcoin, and establish a value for yourself. Zay says he's looking at it $1 million. Quavo, what you think your value is, man, at least?
In my lifetime, 500,000. But I would love to see a lot more, but just realistically, I believe I'm going to be able to see $500,000 per Bitcoin.
What about you, King?
I got to ride with Bitcoin Zay on this. I'm going to go with $1 million. He ain't led me wrong yet.
What about you, CJ, the smart guy?
I think I'm going to stick with Lamar on that one, the Satoshi millionaire. So I think when a Satoshi is $1, that's my value. So that's $100 million Bitcoin.
Man, Jakumi, what's up? What you say?
Hey, I say put your Bitcoin on layaway, man. Get some every day. But my value probably is somewhere around, within the next 2 years, I'm going to say somewhere around 300,000.
Man, what about you, T-Mott?
Good morning, y'all. I'm gonna say it's gonna be about 500K, and that's where I'm shooting, and stacking Toshis. That's what it's about.
Now, I want y'all to notice something. Every single person pretty much has had a different one outside of the dudes that roll together. Like, Gentlemen Crypto, they're gonna roll together. You feel me? They've been doing a show together for 5 years now, fellas.
4 years. Longest running daily show in the industry.
4 years. Longest running daily show in the entire industry. They've been rolling together, so they're going to roll together. But you notice everybody has their own point. What about you, Sinclair? What's going on, brother?
I'm 100 million. I think it's really y'all turned me out on this Satoshi millionaire thing. Once y'all had me think that way, I felt like I was in a fog from the last few years. Like literally, the whole thing about payments and micropay. When one Satoshi equals $1, that's when we like it's lights out. Everything else is what it is. It's still great increments. So I think really that 100 million, like it has to be a reason why that's there beyond just because. And I think looking that as a ceiling of sorts becomes intriguing because again, it just makes a Satoshi equal to a so-called U.S. fiat dollar, which still doesn't seem like anything. So that was humbling. That was you and brother Justin on that one. That was brilliant. But I rode with the longest running 4-year day for day no parole brothers. Like what y'all did with the longevity, bro. Longevity has its place. Look, Martin Luther King said longevity has its place. Well, he didn't make it that long. Y'all been going, man. Not talking to Martin Luther King, but y'all like that shit hard. And to do it with another person, like it's hard enough to do shit by yourself. But two black men dealing with white supremacy, all by and still like, man, that shit's amazing.
Love that show. Love the show.
Yeah, shout out to Sinclair. I think Sinclair was on was it episode 100?
Episode 300.
300. Yeah, shout out to Sinclair for coming in and blessing us with that.
That's what's up, man.
One more time. Yeah. No. These guys, day for day, no parole. That's with another grown ass man. Like, because we're grown men. Not your wife. Another grown ass independent man. Man, that's like 30 years in like regular life.
Hey, Fred, what's your number, Fred, man?
Man, yeah, hey, I'm sticking with that. I'm gonna say at least 100 million. The reason why, and like I said before, that number, we're still basing this on 21 million, and I'm not, because I'm going lower. I'm going like 14 to 15 million Bitcoin. So I think it's going to be a lot higher because that price is going, that price and that value is going to go so much higher. So, but for argument's sake, I'll definitely go with the 100 million, or the $1 or $2 per Satoshi.
And what about you, Bitcoin vegan? What about you, bro?
What's the question?
Oh man, how you gonna come this late? See, it's what happens when you don't eat chicken. When you don't eat chicken, you show up to the meeting late and don't know what the questions are. No.
I was carrots and avocados this morning, man. What's up, man?
Yeah, exactly. No, we just said, what's your value? Like, what did you value Bitcoin at? Not the price, but where do you think the actual value is in Bitcoin?
Infinity. It's like we can't put no value on this because we can't see the top. No, I mean, you ain't gonna be we really buying this for generations. We'll never see. I don't even know the value. That's why I just say buy. Because at some point in time, the price doesn't matter. It's all about what's going to go down in the longer years from now. I have to say infinity because you're gonna buy it whatever price it is.
Man, that's another way to look at it. Because here's the thing. So yeah, one of the things that I want to let y'all know, man. Look, they doing it right now, man. Hey, please stop these people. Please stop these people on Lord have mercy. They hitting me already. Please report these people on Facebook. They are trying to get your money. Don't listen to any of the comments. If you listen to me right now, do not watch any of these comments. They are trying to get your money. They are trying to man, it's a lot of them too. Like the scammers are out heavy.
I say, call it what it is, man. They're trying to scam our people.
Yeah, you see this one that I just put on stage? Do not listen to any of that. Marvin Garmo or whatever this is. Do not listen to that. That's the kind of stuff you're going to see. Make sure you do not participate. I'm going to block them. You guys can go and report them, please. That'll be amazing if you go and do that. Because it's not cool at all. I want to make sure I say that out loud. But let's get back to this value price situation. The value that a lot of people put it on, right? They say that Bitcoin is the new digital gold. And if you look at gold and its market cap right now, and it's about $10 trillion, which means that the current market cap of Bitcoin, which is $1 trillion, that's still 10 times away. Right? So it got to go 10 more times before it gets to where gold is, which means that that's a price of about $550. What are we at? About $560,000. right? But a lot of people think it's better than gold and could potentially do 2 times what the market cap of gold is now, which will put us at 20 trillion, which is around about $1 million or so dollars, which is where Zay's at, right? It's about $1 million or so dollars per Bitcoin. Because we're not pulling these numbers out of thin air. Like, we actually are seeing what's going on in the market, and gold has traditionally been a place to harbor or to protect your purchasing power. And if Bitcoin is a better version of that, then why would there not be more money going into it in the future when it's time for people that want to protect their purchasing power, right? So these numbers are coming out of nowhere, and that's the reason why we are talking about this like this. So here's the thing, you guys. So what do you guys think this week? Right? There's a bunch of people getting their stimmy. Shout out to Miss Denise. There's a bunch of people out here getting their stimmy or their stimmy. Let me say it right for the people who doesn't know what I'm talking about. The stimulus check. People will be getting their stimulus check this week. Into their bank accounts. What do you all think they will do with these stimulus? Do you think the stimulus checks are going to actually move into Bitcoin this week? I would love to hear what you guys have to say.
Well, Mr.
People getting their Bitcoin checks? That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, they getting their Bitcoin checks.
Hey, look, Martin. Well, in my honest opinion, sir, I really hope that they don't go spend it frivolously. It seems as if there is a lot of opportunity for people to buy Bitcoin, but then, there's also opportunity for people to buy other things. So we really hope they do what's best with the money and just buy Bitcoin.
Yeah, I was talking about this earlier today. That 1,400, if we go back to the previous stimulus, which was like 1,200, it's over 10,000 now, depending on when you actually received it. But that return on investment, they gave you 1,200. Now it can be worth over 10,000 if you invested in Bitcoin. So we'll see what this 1,400 does, because now this time you get 1,400 for yourself plus 1,400 per dependent that you have. So if you're married with a family of 3, that's 7 racks.
Has anybody thought about the fact that the price may get dumped on a bunch of people because everybody's talking about putting a stimulus into Bitcoin? And I know we have social media bots like Lunar Crush that can scan social media and see the sentiment. So if everybody's saying, I'm putting my stimulus in Bitcoin, the whales may remember last year what happened, and then they dump through the end of March as people get these stimulus checks to try and shake people out. You got to tell people, if you're going to do it, think long term, because some people may see a 20% drawdown and instantly say, oh, I can't lose this money. So just make sure people are doing it. If you're encouraging people, tell them to have diamond hands, hold long term.
And dollar cost average.
But if they do a pullback like last March, that would be phenomenal for people like us.
I think also just looking at the entire pandemic relief, the whole 1.9 trillion, and I guess they did another round of SBA and PPP loans. I'm just looking at the entire landscape, not just the stimulus itself. I think bullish. I still have a bullish sentiment because I think a lot of businesses are going to get this loan money as well and put that into crypto, not just the $1,400 stimulus. I think we might see some of these businesses that are getting these, $300 million to each city here or whatever billion to each city there. I think we'll see that flow back into the market as well.
Yeah, because it's almost irresponsible to not put it into Bitcoin at this point, because as the money is being printed out, the value of it's going down. And if you're a CEO, you have 2 different responsibilities: A, to maintain the wealth that you have, and then B, to generate as much wealth as you can in that, in that time period, that year. And so if you're losing 15% of your purchasing power due to inflation, then you're not a successful CEO. You're not doing your job. So I think a lot of them are going to start putting it into Bitcoin. And I think Michael Saylor, by him having that how-to, that's going to encourage a whole bunch of them to keep doing that. So I agree with King on that.
Listen, can I say this one more time? Because this is still happening on Facebook. These scammers, boy, they do not stop. Listen, anybody under my voice, if you see anyone in the comments asking you for, because the problem is that Bitcoin is non-reversible. When you send that coin to that address, they got you. So do not copy paste this address into your Bitcoin wallet and send these addresses anything. Like I said, there have been over $8,000 worth of Bitcoin lost just for me doing a video last week. Because people have hit me up in my inbox and said, Lamar, was that you? I sent it. Did you get it? I'm like, get what? Then I go back. I'm like, I see. I really want to protect y'all because they are coming hard and heavy at us. Like, real talk. This dude, Felipe Rodriguez, make sure y'all block him. Make sure y'all get rid of that dude. He's not, even though it doesn't say Lamar, get rid of him. Golden Sun too, get rid of him. Like, hey, Lamar, real talk. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, bro, you might want to pin a post just in case somebody comes in after you make that statement and they don't see it. So put like a pinned comment to make everybody aware that, you know, you got scammers in the comments.
I like definitely will, man.
Is there a way we can do a bounty? Is there something we can do? Because, again, I told you I've been hacked for, you know, about 50 Bitcoin a few years back. And I'm just telling you, in the community at large, especially the Eurocentric one, they almost made it seem like scammers were like super hackers to be lauded and say they were great, as opposed to predators that wouldn't even look you in the eye in the street. I'm just saying there's got to be something, and when I dealt with, I had to get Secret Service involved, like a whole bunch of layers to this thing can really get costly in itself. I think as a part of this, as the rise of value happens, we do need to also think about like another branch of what we're doing to make sure we help. Again, if you don't own your keys, you're problematic. But I'm just saying there are people who are stalking our people. These people are preying on our folks. And those of us who know better, there's got to be some things we can do on the offensive, not just on the defense.
I feel Sinclair. I feel you, Sinclair. I feel like they need a chin check, huh?
Need a chin, like really, like choked out, like really, because I know in their heart it's a bitch. I mean, they can't be that approach to taking from somebody. Ain't no dude who will look you in the eye. There's no. To my point, they're not built that way. We need to do something in the right way. I'm only saying it with the intensity. I'm
invite them to the next Black Bitcoin. I mean, Black Blockchain Summit.
Yeah, just invite him.
Hey, yeah, we'll invite him. Lamar talking. Once we start talking about it, but damn, give him a free ticket.
Right, come on through.
Yeah, tell him come up. Tell him to roll up, man. We got him. We're gonna start.
Matter of fact, tell them bring their Bitcoin wallet with them. We'll put something in it for them.
But you're right, Sinclair. Like, you know, the industry has kind of lauded these guys and elevated hackers to be like techno geniuses. You know, elevated the scammers to be hackers and framed them like techno geniuses. But they're really, it's the worst kind of just evil, right? It's predatory, it's mean spirited, and it's just wrong.
They're like one level below predatory banking.
Yeah, but what I also say is
hold on. Let's rewind that. Say it one more time, Justin.
They're one level below predatory banking.
Man,
it's like online payday loans, right? These are the folks that set up shop in our neighborhoods, right, and give people these $1,000 interest rate loans, and they try to pretend like it's helping, but it just hurts you. Right, you end up paying for that loan 3 times over when all you needed was just $500, but you end up paying $3,000 in the end because the interest rates are terrible. I mean, it's predatory.
Yeah.
It ain't even let me pin a comment. It's almost like Facebook wants people to get scammed out here in these streets. Like I'm over trying to pin a comment and it's not letting me do it.
I know for sure YouTube is like that. I know when Bitcoin Zay and they had their TV, they had gotten rid of CoinDesk.tv, their channel, but yet they have those scammers up all the time. Like they have scams on YouTube consistently. And so when you think about Google as a whole, you know, cryptocurrency represents, you know, a potential barrier to their power because now everything is decentralized. They don't have all the information anymore. So they don't really necessarily like cryptocurrency. And so I think that we should just be careful with that as well, because YouTube, if we're dealing with companies that don't like cryptocurrency, it's not just personal. They're dealing on a business level to where they don't want that whole industry to succeed.
Thank you.
Hey, Lamar, I hop on that side on the Facebook and just kind of put, you know what I mean, put those comments in and let people know that ignore the scammer.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. So, because I was trying to pin, and it wasn't like I've used to pin. I was able to usually pin stuff, but it was not letting me pin. But here's the thing. So let's get off these scammers. I just wanted to make that a public service announcement because I don't want when I saw somebody say they they purposely sent 0.12 Bitcoin to an address. Like, it's hard enough to get to 0.28, right? That everybody's talking about to be in the top 1%. And for you to send 0.12, it broke my heart. I ain't gonna lie to you. Cause y'all know I ain't asking for nothing in through no thing on Facebook comments, but the way they are doing it makes it look a little bit like, oh, I can just hurry up and get some. So I guess what we need to talk about is greed. Like, the truth is that the reason why it's working is because some people want to flip their money really fast. And Bitcoin's not a flip your money fast. I mean, like Zay, I keep seeing him put up on Twitter. He always puts up, he's like, oh yeah, we were lucky. Like, he'll show some long-term chart where the prices done dropped before and you had to hold through all of this craziness. And he's like, oh yeah, we were lucky. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody's like, you just got lucky that you got Bitcoin early. It's like, no. It's not luck that it does it. It's called patience. It's called understanding the value and the worth of it, like we were talking about earlier, and just being patient and being able to hold on to an asset because you know the real value even if the price is slipping. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, yeah, the scammers get on my nerves, real talk. But let's move on to the next subject though. Let's move on to the next subject. So, outside of everything we was talking about with the value and everything like that, my question is, what about personal responsibility? Let's talk about that and talk about how we as black folk and what we trying to do is get people into a realm of thinking about being responsible for their finances so they aren't sending money to the daisies of the world and to the flower trees and all of this stuff. Can we talk about that a little bit?
Lamar, can I add?
Yes.
Please. Thank you. And thanks, guys, for having me. That brings it to, from my aspect, education. And, I wanted to add before you got off the scammers, an offensive tactic would be to educate our people and doing something like a scam alert. It's unfortunate that you weren't able to pin the comment on your page or whatever, but educating the people and letting them know what to look out for in a scam. No, it's not a rich, overnight quick scheme, so you can't, run in and expect to get your money right quick or whatever, because you might get scammed, but educating the people, I think, would be a good offensive tactic, and then also what I wanted to share is can we call the scammers, not necessarily what they are, but that's their job. Right. And so we can't necessarily, entertain, oh, they got us again. Oh, they got us, versus how can we beat them at their own game?
And they're trying to get me to get back $50,000 a week off my earnings. And the way I have to do it is to send them Bitcoin to their affiliate investment brokerage program, which is a website. So that's the nice and pretty website you'll go to, and it looks all pretty. And then once you send your Bitcoin is gone. So don't get sucked into anything where someone's telling you that they can flip your money faster than the market. You don't have to give your money to anybody when you're in Bitcoin. You can invest in it yourself, without a broker or without without sending your money to someone. So these people are going to come up with everything that they have to get you to send your Bitcoin to them. So just try to avoid the get rich quick schemes.
Yeah, I agree. I just was, just like the bounties and the bounty bugs, like literally make a consequence. Like for the most prolific, people who are doing this to harming, particularly our community. Like, if there's people who are literally preying on the black community in particular, if we are able to take some of the monies that we've been able to make in this space to incentivize folks to go after, expose those folks, and put them out of commission, I'm just saying, it's not like Ghostbusters, but it'd definitely be something where, we would make it not only something wrong to do, but if we find you, we're going to take care of you in a way that you can't do this to any more people.
Right, but that's the hardest part. That you really can't, like, you really can't.
Yeah, so from a personal responsibility perspective, I look at it as with more financial freedom comes more responsibility. And I feel like we're leading a lot of people into financial freedom. And so as we're leading people into financial freedom, I think we should just expect these type of things to happen. Bad debt expense is something that most companies have just in case they lose something. And so I think that we should definitely start educating people, but I don't think it should be a surprise. I don't think we should necessarily get too emotional, even though it is personal, especially when it's your personal money. But at the same time, with more freedom comes more responsibility. When the slaves were free, they had to pay rent for the first time. They had to pay a mortgage for the first time. And for me, I look at, Exodus and Moses and all them. A lot of them start complaining that they were free because they had more work to do, more responsibilities. They want to go back and be slaves. So I think we're kind of going through that right now with this more financial freedom. Yes, you have to have your own private keys. Yes, you have to keep your cold wallet safe because it's like a gold bar. If your gold bar is gone, it's gone. So more freedom because more responsibility.
Yeah, Corey Marshall said on Facebook, education on managing Bitcoin is a great start to preventing predatory BTC tactics. And I think we try to educate here, but he's right. I mean, just from the standpoint of understanding that it's non-reversible. Like, there's nobody you can call if you send Bitcoin to the wrong address or send it to the wrong person. Another thing you do, like, before you send it, like, it's crazy to me that people sent it, and it's no offense to them or anything. I'm just saying is people sent it, and then after they sent it, they asked me, did I get it? Like, but I would have rather them jump in my inbox before and say, Lamar, are you the one putting this up here? Is this your address? Because that would give me an opportunity to say no, especially if you're connected to me like that. You get what I'm saying? That's another way to stop that whole system. Because right now I'm going back and forth with a Bitcoin Zay on WhatsApp that definitely is not Zay, and he's we going back and forth, and I finally told him, I was like, somebody outed you last week and said you weren't Zay, so why did you keep saying you're Zay? And now he's like, what do you mean? Somebody trying to say I'm not Zay. So
and Lamar, to piggyback.
Go ahead.
So I was gonna say with that, it's funny. I remember years ago, it had to be at least 10 years ago. I woke up early in the morning to a phone call, and it was the bank asking for my card number and all this other stuff. And I gave it to them, and literally as I hung up the phone, I called my bank. I was like, wait, what? Now I called my bank. Of course, they're like, it wasn't us, whatever. But it caught me off guard, and I got it nipped in the bud. So I almost think that's the same fervor people have when they're like, oh, Lamar's saying give them this Bitcoin, they can turn to this or whatever. And then as soon as they do it, they almost know like something's not right about this, which is probably why they hit you up. But in general, I agree with CJ. I think, unfortunately, until this thing really becomes mainstream where we can disseminate information about crypto, the right and proper information very quickly throughout the mainstream, I think this will be a cost of doing business. And I think this is going to be just as normal as you buying your first Satoshi or Bitcoin. And that is going to be getting either scammed or hacked. I mean, you just heard it from Sinclair. Myself and Bitcoin Zay have went through it. I've been scammed and hacked right in this space. So it's one of those things where you don't even know to look for it, how to look for it, and how to defend yourself against it sometimes until it already happens. And then you have your guard up for it. So it's unfortunate, but I think that might be just as we always say, that was the price of your tuition in this space. That might be the price of tuition when it comes to people learning about cybersecurity, scamming, hackers, and all that good stuff. Is to unfortunately go through it themselves.
Yeah, just don't trust anyone on the internet. Like,
so,
period.
But I just want to say what the brother said about enslaved Africans. I think we got to be clear that there are people going to prey on us But if we're the ones that know, if we're the one, and I'm a Booker T. Washington, not a Du Bois person, but if we're the ones that know more than most of our community, and we're not out here beating those folks in their ass, if we're not, while they're preying on us, we should be preying on them. We should literally be taking these scammers. We may not ever get all of them, but if we make it so that one scammer can't hurt one of our freely new emancipated black people, because the consequences, like for us to go through that, I don't want our children to. Like you're right. I think we're built this way. We're early adopters. We came in as on the frontier of fighting white supremacy, using technology to liberate ourselves. But for the sake of those that come after us, they may not be built the same way. I'm just saying, if we all put some money aside just to have somebody stalk these motherfuckers, these folks, and deal with them and give them what they deserve, I think, again, when they come to our community, they'll understand what time it is. This is my last thing. I ain't going to keep saying.
Yeah, we just got to find them. That's the hard part, Sinclair. Like
I got one in the Philippines. I need some help tracking down. I'm with it, though.
That's what I'm saying. It's hard. Like, it's super hard to find somebody like that, right? Because the thing is that Facebook has all the information to track IPs, but then they use stuff like the Tor network. So then they'll use Tor, they'll use all types of proxies, they'll use all kinds of things to kind of block where they're coming from. And they could say, like you said last time, Sinclair, they could say they from Nigeria, but they actually from Eastern Europe. You see what I'm saying? So it's very difficult to track them down. That's why I think on the opposite side of that, if we learn how to just not trust anybody on the internet, I think we'll stop a whole lot of those situations. Real talk. Because if you just see something pop up, it's like, even if it's me, I ain't fooling with that unless you talk to Lamar. And Lamar, did you do this? Yeah, I did that. This is why, right? But it's like, other than that, like, why would you just immediately see it? Because somebody just put a question up. That's what I wanted to pop up really fast. It says, is it best practice to send a partial amount first and verify with the receiver? No, don't send anything. That's what I'm saying. What do you guys think? Should you send anything?
So it's not a scenario where you send your Bitcoin to anybody. That makes sense. No.
I think this boils down to learning basic security, and that's something that we need to do as a culture, as a society, as a community. Is just understand basic security. What this is social engineering, right? If we've been on the internet for years, we've seen all these different types of things where you're doing and you're trying to get some funny name, right? And it's going to be like, hey, well, put in your first name and your birth date and stuff like this, and let's see what your name would be or whatever, right? All these things are social engineering tactics, right? Or the way that they used to do back in the day, where you pretty much filled out an entire questionnaire and saying, hey, what is this? What's your mother's name and all this stuff. So if you start thinking about it in the bigger scheme of things, and all these things that you do on the internet, they're all social engineering to get more information out of you. If I made it so crystal clear to you, you would say, nah, I ain't gonna answer that question. If I'm like, hey, what's your mother's maiden name, and what's your favorite pet or your favorite color or something like that, you probably look at me like, nah, those sound like security questions. But if you do it a different way, it's the same thing. It's like, oh well, I'm finding out people putting out their birth date on the internet and putting out all this different stuff, and it's like, I mean, it's a hacker's wet dream, because they're just seeing and compiling all this information on you that's out there. So when it comes down to learning the basics about security, that's what we really need to do. It starts there, and then when you start seeing stuff like this, and people coming in with fake Zays and fake Lamars and stuff like that, it's like, nah, because I already know these cats, real time. They ain't gonna sit here and ask me for any kind of Bitcoin or anything like that. So it puts you in a new mindset, and that's where we need to start. We need to understand. You go to we go on the airplane and stuff like that, and like, oh well, I'm gonna just charge my phone by sticking my USB in this hole. Come on, bruh. You can't just be sticking your USB in any hole. It's the same thing. Like you can't do that.
That's facts.
talent.
They gonna
Even if
sit
it was
there.
real Lamar, even if
You
it
gonna
was
sit
real
there
Lamar
and
asking me for
get
Bitcoin,
your
I'm not
data
sending it
snatched. What's that?
Right,
What's that, Jakumi?
right, Jakumi.
I'm like, yo, Lamar, you don't need no Bitcoin, bro. You don't even have any Bitcoin, right?
Right. Why do I want something I don't have?
You don't even want that.
Right.
So like I said, that's where it starts, man. It's kind of understanding, basic security, understanding social engineering, and all these other little things, and we won't necessarily fall for these scams. We won't be sitting here, doing these stupid games on the internet or whatever. That's just like willingly giving up your information. So once you start learning that, it's going to be a lot better.
You're absolutely correct, Fred. Do you know I have never used my correct birth date on the internet? The only time I use my correct birth date is when I reach out and it's a financial institution or a legitimate company I'm dealing with. Anything on social media, it is always an alternate birth date.
Granny, you out here catfishing people telling them you 25. Is that what you want?
Yeah, I would like to, what Fred and CJ are talking about and Sinclair, it's so important, because these are the reasons why they'll be, if you start hearing people complaining about, being scammed in the space, and this also brings the big regulators in to say, oh, well, we got to help the people to stop being scammed, even though they're going to use that anyway, but we just want to start to take the responsibility on ourselves. And I'm speaking from a place of being SIM swapped and all of that stuff. And it's like once you get in that pickle, it is so hard to get out. So it just really takes doing your own research, really staying safe. That was an excellent point, Fred, about not doing these games on social media, because it all is just trying to get more information. And we really have to step up our responsibility, like Sinclair was saying.
And Miss P, to what you said, just last week, I contacted my cellular carrier and I told them, do not send a SIM card to anyone. If I need a SIM card or my daughter needs a SIM card, we will physically come into the store to get it. So
Yes.
she put that on my account.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say that's what I did to mine as well when it happened to myself. Is just make sure that the only way you can change anything on your mobile passwords, anything you can change, you have to go in store and do it physically in person with a government ID, because they would definitely try to do it online for you.
Can you please explain what this SIM swap is for the people that aren't sure of it?
Yeah. So basically, what happens is that most of your cellular providers, if you are on, I think there's another network called GDSMA, but most people are on SIM networks, and those SIM cards are what basically controls or handles your phone number and your connectivity to the network. So what a SIM swap is when someone actually gets another SIM and swaps your number onto their SIM card. Because the same way, like let's say you break your phone or lose your SIM card or something like that, or bust your SIM card up, they have to move your phone number over to another SIM card for you to be able to use that same phone number. Well, what they'll do is that they'll get information. What's his name? My man Daniel, he talked about how they did it a different way, but they'll get information from you that'll pass the security questions for when they want to swap the SIM over, and then they'll just swap that SIM card and that information over into another SIM. So now to everybody else in the outside world, they look like you, because most of your apps have two-factor authentication that has text messages. So if they have access to your text messages, all they gotta do is act like they logging in. Boom, got you, right? So it's those kind of things that'll happen because they can SIM swap. The other way, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it happened to me, and they literally went to the AT&T guy, and a lot of the stuff, the inside folks getting $100 just to switch your thing, and with the like you said, they'll say, "Oh, my SIM card stopped working," and what happened, and it's not you're an idiot. Like I travel a lot, so if for some reason my phone is not working, I might think it's just something wrong with the local connection, and I'll wait till I get back to figure out. And by that time, it only takes like less than a day. Back then, And if you have, even if you're using Authy for some of these, that's why you're not using your keys. So you're using the exchange. And I Bitcoin, one of those people use Bitcoin just to hodl. I do stuff internationally. So I bought cars while in DC from Japan that are in Africa. So the best way to do that is Bitcoin. So with that being said, they switch out by contacting one of their friends they pay $100 to, and they actually now have your phone number on another SIM card. And I made a mistake of using Authy where it allowed my Authy code to be used in multiple devices. Never do that. If you got Authy or anything, Google Authentication, let it just be for whatever that device you got, let it be just that device. Because that person was able, because I thought it was smart, I said, well, even if something happened, they can't get my Authy, but since it was from multiple devices, they were able to switch everything over. And again, all this stuff about passwords, they don't need your password. Once they got their two-factor authentication, they are you. And now they just reset everything. All they did was reset. And one of the things they did, and I didn't realize it, they'll sometimes try to do it with your Twitter account. They'll do other things to see how you deal with it. So be very sensitive to anything that's odd, because these people are working in collectives. There's not one person. They literally have different people, because literally to get access to your card, your phone, you really do need somebody in the same country with the same access to the same type of phone. But my point is, these folks move fast and they use little tactics. So again, definitely when you're using two-factor authentication, make sure if you're using Authy, that you make it from one device. But again, I got hacked even after reaching out to AT&T and telling them that only if I come in person. I'm telling you, these people are working at a level where it's not, they're guessing. They made enough money to pay people to do these things, and then people act like they don't know what happened. And AT&T has made it a business decision so that people can change SIM cards without physically going in. They've literally said, for our business, we're going to allow people to keep doing this stuff, as opposed to the inconvenience of making people have to physically in, or whatever their reasoning is. I just had to say that.
Yeah, as a joke, it sounds like an Operation Hidden Treasures. That's a joke, though.
Man, you know what's so crazy, y'all? The flip of that is what Sinclair said. He said he called in and told him that he had to be in person. Well, that's what Daniel said happened to him, is that they go into the store and then get the person that works in the store, get their name, get their ID, and then ask them, hey, what store number is this? Then they go outside and call in the employee line and say, Daniel's here trying to change his SIM card over, and they give them all the codes to do it, and they do it that way. So then even in that situation, so just be very careful with what you're doing with your Bitcoin. I didn't want to really get back on this that much again this time, but hey, it's necessary, because that's the part, like, you got to realize you're responsible. So Corey said on Facebook, my parents in kindergarten taught me to not talk to strangers. Bitcoin education is no different. Regardless of how many scammers pop up, proper education is the best preventative measure. And then Asha Nabria said, your Bitcoin is the most valuable thing on the planet. You should really doubt anyone asking you to send them anything. If you wouldn't send them cash, then don't send them Bitcoin. And those two are two very good comments, because that's the truth, right? Like, we want to make sure that we are taking getting an understanding, because we all talking about how much value it was at the beginning. We want to understand how to protect that value, because that's how we're going to get to generational wealth.
I'll take it even one step further, Lamar. If you wouldn't send anyone your gold, why would you send them your Bitcoin? Is somebody really going to double your gold and you send that to them? Does that make any sense? Right. So when you see these scammers out here with that kind of stuff, stay away. It's gold 3.0, right? So treat it like such.
Right. I don't know what gold 2.0 is, but but yeah, you're right, Jakumi, man. Like Jakumi said, I don't know if y'all caught that. Jakumi said, I'm not sending Lamar my Bitcoin, period. That, y'all got to understand that. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, you have to understand that. Like me, it's just like, I don't like people messing with my laptop, because that's how I make money. So my kids know you can't mess with my laptop. You get what I'm saying? The same thing you should do with your Bitcoin. So, yeah, man, this has been kind of dark.
Lamar, real quick on that. Same with the phone. I'm the same way. I'm like, no, stranger, can I use your phone or can I make a call? No, nobody's touching my phone. This is where I do business at.
Right, it's my business. My business is here, so you're not gonna touch it. It's got kind of dark. This was a dark episode of the Genesis Block. Very necessary, but very dark because the realities of being your own bank are real. Like now, you don't have the Brinks truck and the dudes in the back with the shotguns. It's you. You are your Brinks truck. You are the guy with the shotguns. You the security guard with the fat belly that goes and gets donuts every few minutes. That's who you are.
So hopefully we have an industry that we all are thinking about on this stage that we can be coming up with that's around cybersecurity. I see that coming.
So listen, you guys, this is the first half of the show. And y'all know the second half we dedicate to the people so that the people can come up and ask questions of all of us. And I'm sure these questions are about to be a little bit tougher because of how serious this stuff is. We don't want to scare anyone. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to go ahead and get that second part started. Are you ready, Miss Najah?
Yes, sir. I'm ready.
So before we do this, I got to do the reset. This is the Black Bitcoin Billionaires Genesis Block. Make sure you join us every Monday at 11 o'clock, right after the amazing Gentlemen of Crypto show on YouTube. We will be streaming this live to YouTube, Facebook, and try to send it to other channels very, very soon. We appreciate y'all being here. We're on stage with a bunch of our wonderful experts. Today, we were talking about value and protecting that value by not getting scammed. We're also about to go and talk to some of our members of the club, of the Black Bitcoin Billionaires Club. But I also want to remind you guys, go to blackbitcoinbillionaire.com. We have not stopped our Satoshi Millionaire campaign. We want to get as many families to become Satoshi millionaires as possible. So here's the thing. All you do is go to blackbitcoinbillionaire.com. You click join at the bottom. You join the site. And then when it comes back to the site, you go to the Satoshi Millionaire page. There, you can go and sign up to become a Satoshi millionaire. And basically, we're not giving you 1,000,000 Satoshis. Let me just make sure I make that disclaimer straight. We're not giving you 1,000,000 Satoshis, but we will get you started on your way with a few Satoshis so that you can get started and have your first Bitcoin in your wallet. Also, right now, I just uploaded. Big thanks to my man Bitcoin Zay. I just uploaded the first version of Bitcoin and Black America. Bitcoin and Black America is now on the blackbitcoinbillionaire.com site in a PDF version. It is only for members only, so if you're not a member, you're not going to be able to download it. But everyone else, if you're a member of the Black Bitcoin Billionaire website, you can go there now and download Bitcoin and Black America by our very own Bitcoin Zay or Isaiah Jackson. So yeah, man, that's it. And I guess we're going to get into questions. Do you want me to start on Facebook first, Miss Najah, or you want to go ahead and start on Clubhouse?
No, you're going to have to start on Facebook because somebody kept turning off the hand raising, so I don't have anybody to bring up.
Okay, well, somebody turn on the hand raising so we can get it going. And I have my first question.
Quit turning it off is what I need them to do. Stop turning it off.
Okay, well, listen, I got my first question. She said, I know you're talking about Bitcoin, but what is your feelings about other cryptocurrencies? And I want to be moderator too. Somebody else can be moderator one.
Can I jump in, Lamar, on that?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, not to not answer the question, but real quick, I kind of want to point that out. It's very interesting that it is the first question because that goes back into the whole conversation, looking to cash in and the value of things. Like, right now where we're at, like people, you can lose big on altcoins right now. I know a lot of people have 10x, 5x, done all types of great stuff, and I still think there's more to be had when it comes to altcoins the rest of this year. But we consistently on our show talk about, hey, just go to last year and look at the top 10 coins. Go to the year before and look at the top 10 coins. Go to 6 months. Go to 2 weeks ago and look at the top 10 coins. These altcoins keep switching out in and out of the top 10 and market cap and value and all that other stuff, because they are not solidified as real projects yet. So when people ask about other altcoins and other things first, I would say make sure you know the ins and outs of Bitcoin before you start looking in other directions, because you might be getting more USD in altcoin, but it's down when it comes to Bitcoin. So you're losing more Bitcoin as you buy altcoins right now.
Yeah, and I wanted to be number 2 because I wanted people to understand this. Every time you're looking at those altcoin charts, you're probably looking at it against USD. Now, everything's going up against USD because we see what's going on with the US dollar. What I want you to do next time you start looking at these coins, I want you to go get the coin and look at it versus Bitcoin. Look at that pair. Look at the coin. So if it's Ethereum, you go Ethereum/BTC. Look up that price and then zoom out on the chart. So using Ethereum as an example, right now the Ethereum price to BTC is about 0.03. The all-time high was 0.114. So one Ethereum cost you 0.14 Bitcoin at one point in the past. Now it's all the way down to 0.03, which means that if that one Ethereum that you have is now worth only 0.03 Bitcoins, which means you're losing Bitcoin value. You're losing it. If you saw your stock doing that, you would get out of that stock because you'd be like, this is a loser. If you saw anything doing that, if you saw your price go from 0.14, right? It went from 0.14 to 0.03. Think about that. That's a huge difference. That's a huge difference. And everybody has to understand that. Like, that's a big difference between 0.03 and 0.14. And if you look at the chart, you'll see that difference. But most people don't like to look at them apples to apples like that. They don't look at their altcoins versus their Bitcoin. They're only looking at what we call unit bias and seeing that the price, according to dollars, seems cheap. But there's a reason why it's cheap, and it's not keeping up with the growth of Bitcoin. It just isn't, man. And when you look at it from that standpoint, you have to listen to what I'm saying. You have to understand that you're losing Bitcoin value in a lot of these altcoins. And when you try to think you're going to make a lot of money in the altcoins and then flip them back into Bitcoin, by the time you do it, you're not going to even get the same amount of Bitcoin you would have had if you were just taking your money and put it in Bitcoin at the very beginning. And that's real. That is real. That's an actual, let's see what that is. I'm going to see what that is. That's an actual 79% loss of value. That's a 79% loss in value in Ethereum against Bitcoin. And people are running around here saying, no, but there's so much more of a run up in Ethereum to go. But you just have to be careful because you're losing Bitcoin value. And as we said, Bitcoin is the one that is actually set up to keep raising in value, like Bitcoin Vegan said earlier. So just be careful of that. Be very, very careful.
And to give the positive with it, I guess, or what you should be looking for, since people say, hey, they always want to know altcoins. Where do I look? One of the first things I would say, or I don't say first thing, no particular order, I would say look at the team. You want to look at, again, who's on that team, what have they done, what other projects they've been involved in. Are they serial entrepreneurs in the crypto space? I hate seeing people on these teams who this is like their 6 or 7 crypto project, but none of them have done anything yet. To me, that just says they're literally just jumping from project to project, trying to get tokens or ICO or whatever it is on the money side. So I would say definitely look at the team, look at the roadmap, see what they have planned, what's coming down. Have they been following that roadmap? Look at the community. You can get community sentiment from social media handles and channels off their Twitter. Bitcoin forum's a great place, as well as Reddit and Telegram. So I love to look at the community sentiment from it. And then, of course, the technical side of things. Is it Pancake Swap and you look at the code and everything says Uniswap in the code and they literally just copy the same code? Or is it something unique in a different project that actually has a real world use case? So those would be some of the things I look at when I'm looking at altcoins before I decide, is this something I want? And then, of course, the total supply, circulating supply, and then the market cap and volume as well.
Thank you, King. Here's the thing. I want to say this real quick. This is not a question or anything.
All right.
Everyone... Real quick, Ms. Najah, I just want to say this real quick. Everyone that keeps talking about they didn't receive their Satoshis, please go look at your wallet, because our ambassadors have sent out to every single address that we had that was a legitimate address on our list, to every cash tag. About 30 to 40% of them came back expired because people didn't accept them, or people just didn't straight accept the Satoshis that was sent to them. So, Mr. Looney, if you would, you're listening right now, put your cash tag in the comments so I can see it. And while we're on here, I'll look it up for you. But I'm gonna do this for anybody who said they didn't get them. Put your cash tag here. I'm gonna look it up, and I'm gonna see if our ambassadors, because we got a lot of ambassadors working their butt off. Shout out to the ambassadors. Thank y'all for doing everything you're doing. They are doing an amazing job. But a lot of you guys are not accepting the actual coins that they're sending, and it's coming right back to them, and then they're having to put them back into the pool. And to stop from us doing any double work, make sure when you put your name down there, you look at your wallet and accept these coins. Because if you're not going into your Cash App and accepting them, they're expiring and coming right back to our people. So I just want to let y'all know that before people say that they didn't get their coins. All right. So yeah, go ahead, Miss Najah.
We unfortunately don't have anybody on Clubhouse because somebody is turning the hand raising feature off. So go ahead on Facebook.
Who turned the hand raising feature off?
I don't know. It just keeps coming on, and I keep turning it off, and it keeps turning back on. So I've done it probably about 10 times.
It could be it could be Clubhouse, because Clubhouse has been acting crazy. Period. Like did y'all notice I got kicked for a little second? Like kicked completely out of the room. I got kicked for a little bit. So
All right, we do have Risa to the stage finally. Risa, welcome to the stage. Risa, good morning. So you're going to hit that on the right of your screen at the bottom. You're going to click on that little microphone and unmute yourself so you can ask your question. And if not, we're going to move on. If we can get Evelyn up to the stage, I'm trying to get her up there. Evelyn, welcome to the stage.
Hello. So glad to be here. Thanks, you guys, for everything that you do. I've been hopping on these calls on and off for a week now, and I'm getting so much value. So just thank you for all the hard work. My question I put on Facebook, but now that I can actually vocalize it, I'd rather do it this way. My question is, I'm new to this whole Bitcoin, and I'm understanding the importance of it. I've started to buy Satoshis and all that. I'm getting a lot of requests to join what seem to be Bitcoin related or cryptocurrency related crowdfunding network marketing platforms.
Stay away.
And I was interested in your feedback about that.
Absolutely stay away, sister. There are tons of them right now targeting. They claim that they have cryptocurrency education, but it's all about recruiting and making sure that you're taking your Bitcoin and sending it to them. They're going to in turn send you their coin, and their coin is not worth anything. So those are not the platforms that you want to be on.
All right, good to know. Thank you. That's all I wanted. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other moderators have any take on that, please, before we move to Facebook?
Yeah, I just wanted to back up what Ms. Najah was saying. And if you want an indicator of what that looks like when the bottom falls out of that market, that's because that happens every time there's a bull run in the market, meaning the market is trending upwards. You could Google search BitConnect scam or something like that, and it'll, or look it up maybe on YouTube. But it's the same thing. People literally were trading in their Bitcoin for a scam coin called BitConnect, and once the market downtrend, everybody's at the liquidity stopped, and they could no longer get their Bitcoin back off of that platform, and a lot of people lost a lot of money with that. So that's just something else to keep in mind, that all these companies or all these scammers are just rehashing the same scams, and that's one of them.
Thank you very much for that, BlackRegal. So Lamar, we're going to go next back to you, Facebook.
Back on Facebook. I heard something. It says, can we chat about how Bitcoin relates to NFTs? How does that work? And how do you create them? That's from Miss Carla Napper.
Moderator number one, anybody want to handle that?
So, go ahead, CJ.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say the way it relates back to Bitcoin is essentially Bitcoin is the first cryptocurrency, and similar to how artists or businesses try to create ways to stack their US dollars, NFTs is just another way to be able to stack your Bitcoin. So a lot of it's done on the Ethereum platform, some of it's on the Polkadot platform. However, at the end of the day, Bitcoin is the king when it comes to cryptocurrency. And so if you're in that space and you generate some wealth from Ethereum or from an NFT, Bitcoin is still king of the cryptocurrencies. So I think that's how they relate. I'll let somebody else talk about how to get it set up.
Oh, go ahead, T.
Oh, go ahead, Fred. You can say.
No, I answered it on Facebook, so it's okay.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, if they wanted to know more about NFTs, I recommend that they go read the NFT Bible on OpenSea.io, and that definitely gives you the overview of everything as far as that, and it's going to take a lot of research for you to do that. It's not something that you're just going to jump in automatically. You definitely need to do a lot of research. So the first place I would say is the NFT Bible.
Hey, and for those that don't know what NFT stands for, it stands for non-fungible token. So non-fungible token. And what non-fungible tokens are, well, I explain it to my kids like this, right? So non-fungible tokens are going to be something that's could be one of a kind and original. So something that's fungible would be like if I borrow $100 from you and I went to pay you back, and instead of giving you back $100 bill, I give you back, 520s, right? Because that money is fungible. It doesn't matter which amount you get back as long as it equals to 100, right? But if I were to borrow your car from you, right? I borrowed your Bentley, Zay, and then I brought you back a Yugo. You're gonna be like, nah, man, I want my Bentley back, not my Yugo. So that car would be non-fungible.
Thank you for that. That was an awesome illustration. And I think if that is it, we're going to go ahead and go back to Facebook.
There was a Facebook question.
Oh, that was Facebook.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what about Risa? Risa, have you returned to the stage? Risa. And again, you have to press that little bitty microphone on the screen. If not, we're going with Tamika. Tamika, welcome to the stage.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon. I have a question. My question would be for the Bitcoin, do you think that Bitcoin has a bigger advantage because it's the original in the game?
Moderator number one. Anybody want to answer that?
Yes.
It definitely.
I would say yes. It was the first one, and it's the one that most people are using. There have been lots of cryptocurrencies who have tried to duplicate it or fork it. I know you've had Bitcoin Cash. I believe you had Litecoin. So a lot of the other cryptocurrencies are just duplicates of Bitcoin. So I think that it has a huge role in the cryptocurrency space because it was first. But it's also probably the only decentralized cryptocurrency because if you look at Ethereum or you look at an XRP or any of those other types, they're very centralized in the sense where there's people who are actively gaining financial benefit through basically a company. And the reason why these are considered decentralized is because there's no company backing it. So there's no company behind Bitcoin. There's no CEO. It's decentralized.
Oh, okay. Because I'm a very late bloomer as far as investing, and I'm doing the research, and I was looking at a couple of other cryptocurrencies, and I want to invest. And I remember when Bitcoin came out, I invested in Bitcoin, but the thing is, I never fell through, and I have a lot of Bitcoins out there, and I don't even know where they are. I'm one of those people that you invested in it, and then lost it.
Well, I want to say something too as it relates to the coin. The coin itself, Bitcoin, has been the only coin thus far that has done exactly what it said it's going to do in the white paper. It has stayed true to every single element of it. And it is the only one that we can speak to that has done exactly that without a falter.
Yeah, and piggybacking on both of those, CJ and Najah. Yeah, of course, Bitcoin definitely has that first mover's advantage. So does Ethereum when it comes to smart contracts, which is why they do have, the highest percentage and brunt of users and everything. But more than that, the Bitcoin blockchain in and of itself, the technology it hasn't really been exploited. It hasn't been hacked. One of the original wallets still has all the money in it, over now hundreds of millions of dollars. And it's open for anyone to hack it and to take that money. No one has done it yet, though, because they can't do it. So the Bitcoin blockchain, the Bitcoin network, has been the strongest, the longest running one, the strongest one. And then a lot of the other projects, a lot of the other altcoin projects, either have some type of Bitcoin code in it. They forked off Bitcoin because anyone can use it. We all can go online, download the software, get the code, and create our own altcoin from it. So that's where a lot of these coins originate from. They came from the Bitcoin blockchain. They took the code, and then they just finagled and switched some things to create their own blockchain. Same with Ethereum and some of the new Ethereum killers that are coming out, as they call them. They essentially took a lot of Ethereum code and then recreated something on their own. And then the next biggest thing is none of these projects have had to scale yet to the extent of Bitcoin. Ethereum is the next one that's had to do it, and they're working on it right now, which is why those Ethereum fees are so high. We saw the same thing with Bitcoin in 2017. The fees went up. It had to scale. But all these other projects, let's say they're the next biggest thing out there, they haven't had to scale yet. So we don't know what's going to happen when that time comes either. So those are some of the reasons why Bitcoin is still king as of now.
Thank you for that. That's fabulous. Thank you for that. All right. So next we are going to go, and thank you, Ms. Tamika, for that question. We're going to go ahead and go back to Facebook.
It says, they're still referring, they having a long question stream going over, like artwork or diamonds referring to NFTs. So that's what they're asking. But let me see if I can find another one, because you know how it gets when the questions start coming in. Let me see if I can find a different question. Nope, I don't have any. So you can go right back to Clubhouse.
All right, Kenneth, welcome to the stage, Kenneth.
Yeah, thanks. I just want to say thanks to everybody. I've learned a lot over the last couple of weeks. I'm new to this, but jumped in a few days ago. I had a question about Swan. It threw me off a little bit when I was trying to sign up for it. It asked for my full social, and you guys have been talking about fraud, and I just wanted to know if that was normal for Swan. And then my second question is a little different. That's normal?
Yes.
Okay. My second question, I was listening this morning. All my stuff is in Coinbase right now. I'm waiting for a cold wallet to show up this week, and I'm going to move it. But my question was, somebody mentioned, holding a little bit on a hot wallet like Coinbase, having some in there, and over a certain amount, then moving it to a cold wallet. Why would I want to keep it in Coinbase at all if my goal is just to hold?
Because the issue is, if you have too little, what winds up happening is you'll have a small, very small output, an unspent transaction output, and
mentioned something about Ethereum, about how it's better to, if I heard you correctly, it's better to put my money into Bitcoin rather than Ethereum, because right now I have a considerable amount of money in Ethereum. So do you suggest I put it inside Bitcoin and not bother with Ethereum? Is that what I heard?
I'm sorry, Lucius. You said you have a substantial amount of Ethereum that you need to put into a cold storage. Is that what I heard you say?
No. I was listening to you guys earlier, and one of the speakers said that it's better to put my money into Bitcoin rather than put it into Ethereum.
Oh,
because
okay.
Ethereum, I guess, it loses value.
No, that's
it would
not
be.
what. Yeah, that was a myth. You misinterpreted that.
Can I say
don't know who said that, but I believe that nobody on this stage said that.
It was me.
In its totality that way.
Yeah,
they didn't say it all the way like that.
Can you hear me, Miss Najah? Can y'all hear me again? Am I back?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
But you can give him your philosophy, but I'm not. But I'll let you tell him. But
yeah,
tell you to trade it.
Yeah, I'm not saying. Listen, I'm saying when you're looking, it's information purposes. When you're looking at these coins and trying to decide whether you're going to get Bitcoin or another coin, I was telling people to look at a chart of that coin versus Bitcoin. I'm not saying what you should do. You can own all the Ethereum you want. That doesn't matter. I'm just saying, like, look at it in a different way. Look at it from a different perspective, because some people don't. They don't pay attention to it that way, and they don't realize that the value of like Ethereum versus Bitcoin has dropped since its all-time high. Its all-time high was 0.14 Bitcoin per Ethereum, and now it's only 0.03, which means that if you held on to Ethereum during that whole time, like at the same, if you bought Ethereum at 0.14 when it was 0.14 Bitcoin, you bought Ethereum. If you held on to it from that time until now, you lost a lot. You lost about 79% of your value. And you could have just held on to Bitcoin. You see what I'm saying? Like when you're looking at them side to side, right next to each other, like people got to look at it more so from comparing the two coins than comparing both of those coins against the fiat, against the dollar, right? Like you got to look at them against each other, because that'll give you a better understanding of which one is performing better. I mean, just the same way we do it against dollars. We say Bitcoin has risen from 0.08 cent. I mean, 0.008 dollars until it got to $60,000. So you would say that having Bitcoin is better than having dollars in that situation. But most people don't look at their altcoins the same way. They don't say, well, Bitcoin was 0.14 Bitcoin. Now it's only 0.03. They don't say, oh, well, it's probably far better for me to have it. They still looking at the fact that they can get it for so many dollars, not realizing that those two against each other, Bitcoin is probably the better decision, just based on the same thing you would say about dollars. You see what I'm saying? So I just wanted people to look at it in a different way, because most people don't.
Okay, because I noticed that as Bitcoin goes up, Ethereum goes up. It's like for some reason Ethereum cannot stand on its own. It's like it's pretty much dependent on Bitcoin in order for it to get some type of increase.
That's actually the majority of the market. It's just kind of the last few years we've been seeing altcoins stand on their own, but usually when Bitcoin is going up, altcoins are going down. If you look at the charts throughout Bitcoin and cryptocurrency's history, I think because Bitcoin has risen so much in price, people have been looking at altcoins saying, oh, well, this is less than $1, this is less than 20. So they've been more inclined to buy now than they ever would. And that's why sometimes you see altcoins going up with Bitcoin, but usually it's an inverse reaction.
Yeah, it is. Most of the coins versus Bitcoin are going towards zero.
But if you're looking at Ethereum specifically, I'm sure most people are as investments or trading. One thing I will say is they do have the roll-ups coming out this summer. So if it were to pump, it should do it when that happens. But that's a big if it works. If for those who know, roll-ups should help the Ethereum platforms scale, so those high fees you have for every Ethereum transaction you have or buy NFTs and all that should decrease once the rollups come out, and then the layer 2 scaling actually comes out in its totality, I think like another year or two. But depending on how that rollup go this summer, the price could increase, but if the rollups don't do much to scaling, you may see that price drop. And if those quote unquote Ethereum killers like a Cardano or anybody else gets their projects up and rolling, you might also see Ethereum face some competition as well. So just some things to think about.
Thank you for that. Thank you. And Lucius, I hope that answered your question. And we're going to move back to Facebook.
Sound is back. That's what everybody's saying on Facebook. The sound went away when I got dropped out. The sound went away, but it's back, and they haven't asked any more questions. Listen, everybody on Facebook, make sure you get your questions in so Miss Najah can have a break every once in a while. Miss Najah's back to you, sister.
It's all right. Thank you very much. Next up, we have S.J. Jones. Welcome to the call.
Hello. I'm looking for a little bit more information. Thanks for what all this information that y'all giving out. A little information on exchanges. I know I kind of hear that Coinbase isn't really the place to go, even though that's the most common one, I guess, the biggest one. So I'm looking at Cash App, and I kind of want to hear the advantages and disadvantages of using Cash App versus Coinbase and other ones that are out there. And on the side, it seems like I read something about buying through Cash App and it not buying instantly, like you have to buy at the end of the day or something or it buys. So I want to get that cleared up as well.
Okay, I'll take this one. No, you can onboard at Cash App easier than you can on Coinbase, I would say. There is no set time when you can buy on Cash App. You can buy 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You do have to do KYC on Cash App, the same as you do on Coinbase, but only when you're ready to move your coins. So, for example, you can go on Cash App and buy Bitcoin right now, and you do not have to KYC. But the minute you want to move your Bitcoin to your cold storage, then you would have to provide identification and maybe your social security number, that kind of thing. When you move your coins, just know that there is a fee attached. And we recommend that you move 1 million Satoshis at a time so that you're not hit with such high fees to eat up your transfer. Coinbase, we tend to stay away from because when the market is really hot and a lot of people are buying Bitcoin or other altcoins that they list, Coinbase will shut down without notice. So you could possibly lose the opportunity cost of buying your Bitcoin at a lower rate. And by the time they open the platform, for those of you that think that gospel music has gone too far. A second reason we tend to stay away from Coinbase is because of social justice issues. If you're interested in that, you can Google it. I think an article was written, or a couple of articles were written by the New York Times. So that's my 2 Satoshi on that.
Yeah, my biggest thing on Coinbase in general, in addition to what Flip said, is they just restrict your account in general. The moment you have too much Bitcoin, basically, you start spending too much money on Bitcoin, they will restrict your account. This isn't a maybe. It's happened to myself about 3 different times with 3 different accounts. Bitcoin has happened a few times, and other people in this space. So as Flip was saying, if you plan on trading when the market's hot or anything like that, or even when it's not hot, I've logged in after a buy before, and it's just like, you can transfer your Bitcoin or you can sell it. You got, a week to do it. And there's no
I reach out to them on Twitter, reach out all the platforms, no response, or the response is, hey, that's basically just is what it is. So essentially, once you'll price yourself out of Coinbase, but we try to get people off of Coinbase before that happens. But you essentially will price yourself out of it when you do that. So again, Cash App is one good one. Gemini from the Gemini twins, the guys who helped create Facebook, that's another good one. Uphold is another good one. And then the other thing I would say when it comes to fees, the thing about the fees by and less is not just the Bitcoin blockchain. Those fees aren't that bad. I think a couple of years ago, it was like $1 billion transaction sent through like 2 custodial wallets, and it cost like $2 or $3. So it's not the actual Bitcoin blockchain fees. It's the fees from the Coinbases who have some of the highest fees in the industry. It's the fees from Cash App. While they're not as high, they still have, financial industry, 2 to 3% or wherever it is. So a lot of the fees are coming from the Bitcoin blockchain transaction fee you normally have, in addition to a high fee like a Coinbase fee, which is why you want to have a higher amount before you move that money usually.
So you're saying that Cash App does also have high fees? Maybe I know.
Not as high as Coinbase.
Okay.
So I'm just going to jump in and piggyback off what King Bless just said. Basically, just understand that on most exchanges, not most, all, like there's 34,000 exchanges out here, and they've got different fee structures that are set up. The goodness truth is you're going to pay anywhere between 2% and 5% on any exchange you're on. So how do they do that? They just package it differently. Maybe it looks like you've got free trading for the next month, but the cost of their Bitcoin is higher because they're going to get their money. Or they may say you got 2% or 1% or 0.5%, but then they get you some other kind of way. Just know, because I'm watching and studying that you're going to pay 2.5% or better on most of these exchanges. Coinbase is one of the highest ones. So just FYI. And as it relates, you were asking the pros and cons of Cash App. The con behind Cash App, and I'm not saying con as in they're conning anybody, but pros and cons, is that if you're going to do anything over $5,000, just be aware that you can only take $5,000 off of Cash App a week. So even though your intention is to buy it and put it into your own private, either what I call a warm wallet or a cold wallet, if you're doing anything over $5,000, that's all they allow you to do per week on Cash App. But for anybody that's doing under that, it's a great platform. It's it's easy to use, and it's easy to transfer your money off, your Bitcoin off. So just FYI.
Okay. I'm already in Cash App, so I have a couple follow-up questions. For one, on what Miss Flip was saying, as far as the KYC that Cash App requires when you're trying to transfer it off, I'm already using Cash App, and I guess from the amount that I use it, they've already asked me for my social and all that stuff. So I believe they already have that. I'm not sure if they're going to be asking me separately when I try to take it off. And also, I guess I'm not sure if it's because of how much I use Cash App, but when I look into the app, there's a place when you go under Bitcoin, it says Bitcoin limits, and for mine, I guess maybe this is individual because it says your Bitcoin limits are based on your rolling 7-day activity. So mine is more than 5,000 a week.
So if you're at more than, I don't mean to cut you off, but if you're at more than 5,000 a week, you should not be on Cash App. You shouldn't be on Coinbase. That's where you go to the Geminis, or you go peer-to-peer, over-the-counter, or I would even say Uphold does a pretty decent job. But again, this is why I got with Coinbase. Once you become a player in the market and you're talking about, and 5 to 10K plus a week or a month for a lot of people as a small player in this market. So once you start moving that much, fiat into crypto or vice versa,
again, all of these companies are going to label you as like someone who is essentially like a small whale in the market. And places like Coinbase will just restrict you. Places like Cash App, like you alluded to, which is why they already ask for your social security. But if you're going to be moving that much, I would highly suggest you go over to Gemini, because they're the ones who are built for individuals and institutions moving 5, 10 plus, K a month in crypto.
Okay. I'm not saying I'm at that level yet. Go ahead.
Move over to Najah, the lady who is answering the questions and running the room right now. She has an over the counter, so look into moving your investment with her.
No, you wouldn't move. Yeah, you wouldn't move your investment with me. We make sure that you're full custodian. So just a quick FYI, somebody KYC'd on Friday, wired over 40. The 40 is here. They have that 40 in their account this morning before I even got in the office. So that we're non-custodial. We don't hold on to anything. We get it straight into your warm wallet or cold water wallet, whatever you provide us with.
Okay. All right. And like, I want to clear it up. I'm not at that level of Bitcoin yet, but I guess setting this limit based on my 7-day activity of just fiat.
Well, I tried Coinbase just because I like to. Not Coinbase. Oh my goodness. I tried Cash App because we were talking about it on the Black Bitcoin Billionaire, and Lamar can attest to the fact that I have probably the same limits that you see, but the issue was when I started pulling Bitcoin off. I have not been able to get all of my Bitcoin off, and it'll probably take me a couple months, based on the fact that I thought that what you were reading right there was applicable to me, because that's what it says, but it wound up being $5,000 a week. So just FYI, so just make sure it doesn't get stuck there. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, so one thing I see, it says I can purchase like 100,000 per week, but under withdrawal it says 5,000 per week. You're right, and 2,000 per day.
Sir.
And one thing Najah, shout out to Najah. I didn't realize you were doing OTC. I'm gonna come holler at you too. But when it comes to these terms and services, as far as how much you can remove as well, one thing to keep in mind, again, this is the issue with centralized services, places like Coinbase, or I would use another example, Bittrex. They can literally change the service. I won't say they can. They will change the term of service over you overnight as far as how much you can withdraw. In 2017, when it hit its all-time high, myself and Bitcoin Zay try to withdraw a decent amount from Bittrex, and overnight they went from, you all can withdraw, let's say, $20,000 a day to $2,000 a day. Overnight they went there. And their legal team is one of the biggest crypto teams in the industry. It's the same people who do Hillary Clinton, Democratic National Convention, Google, Facebook. It's like other lawyers won't even pick up the case because they saw who had to fight against. But they literally changed the terms of service. We have screenshots of it overnight to not allow us to take the amount of crypto we wanted out. So these places can do that. Remember, this is still the Wild West. If Cash App were to say tomorrow, Bitcoin goes to 100K, and they say, all right, you guys can take out $3,000 a week now, there's nothing you can do about it but just take out $3,000 a week, as that price does what it does.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you for that. And I think we need to move to Facebook really quick because they only have a few more minutes to be on. Lamar, anybody on Facebook?
Yes, somebody said they're looking for.
All right, we're going to go back to the stage. We're going to try Risa.
Ms. Najah, check.
Risa.
Can you hear me this time?
Ms. Najah,
yes, ma'am. Welcome to the call.
Y'all can't hear me, Ms.
Thank you. I have no idea what happened the last time.
Check. Can somebody hear me? Y'all can't hear me? Hello.
You all are phenomenal.
Check.
I joined Clubhouse Thursday. Found you all, listened, fell in love with all of you. I downloaded Edge from Miss Najah's page, looked into her directional PDF, and got into Bitcoin on Friday. Only because, I've been exposed to the concept for a couple years now, but only felt the urgency after hearing you all have your discussions, and I'm very grateful for that. So thank you. As a follow-up to that, I also feel the urgency to try to get your messaging to a broader audience. And because currently Clubhouse is in beta, only iPhone, and with stim checks hitting and with scammers hitting even harder, it feels like the urgency is even more great right now. So I don't know if it's a possibility for me to help you guys broaden the scope right now, but if it is that something that you guys would be willing to explore if I was, able to find a platform with a broader audience than Clubhouse provides right now?
Absolutely, sister. We absolutely, all of us, would love any assistance you have.
Okay. All right. Well, I have been over the past few days reaching out to my some of my closest friends and relatives and getting them connected in this platform. Fred, I connected you with one of my clients, got him to join Clubhouse specifically to connect with you guys because he is involved with education with kids. And I heard you guys talking a couple days ago about some of the curriculum you have developed already in that respect. So anyway, so all of that said, I have some questions for my personal self. With Edge, are there fees related to transferring funds from one coin to another coin?
Yes, there are fees, and I'll speak to that just because I'm the one that, of course, is working with or suggesting Edge as a service. So yes, anything and anywhere you go in this space, there are going to be some fees associated with it, on top of the fact that the miners have to take a fee. So the miners are getting a fee for verifying the transactions. So there are fees on top of those as well. Again, it just depends on the platform, on how they package it. But they're just going to get a little bit here and a little bit there.
Got it. Okay. And then Cash App, I have a Cash App, but I don't use it currently. And I never have. But now looking at it as a way to hold a small amount of Bitcoin, because I heard this morning somebody talking about the opportunity to provide tips to waitresses and that sort of thing from the Cash App for their benefit rather than just, a handful of dollars. So with Cash App, should you transfer from Edge or should you just purchase directly from Cash App a small amount of Bitcoin if you're using it for that purpose?
So purchase from.
Go ahead, Granny. Go ahead, Granny.
Purchase from Cash App and move it to your cold storage.
Okay.
I think what you're asking for is using it actively, like small amounts, kind of like I do.
Correct.
What I'll do, order like as a Bitcoin evangelist, I'll tip people like like $5 worth of satoshis or Bitcoin and some. We try to use the term satoshis, but I'll do that. I'll do that often. So I just purchase it. You don't want to transfer it because you might have to pay the mining fees. But what you should do is just buy the small amount. There's nothing wrong with keeping small amounts on Cash App.
Okay.
And while you're saying that too, you have the ability, which is why I use Edge so much. And I know Granny said go from Cash App into your cold storage if that's where you're storing. But just like Terrence said, if you're going to use it maybe to tip somebody or pay children and pay their allowance or things like that, I use the Edge wallet because you can literally adjust your mining fees. And we kind of go through that, and I show people how you can do that. You can pay a lower fee. Your transaction may or may not go out immediately, but you know that it's going to go. And so I do that all the time because I'm able to manipulate the fee and not pay the suggested fee. I can actually go in, click on a lower fee, and my transactions still go through. If I have a client, of course, that's waiting on Bitcoin, we don't do that. We go ahead and pay the regular suggested fee. But you have the ability to do that inside of the Edge wallet. And I don't know too many more of the wallets that give you that opportunity, or I just haven't found that. But that's there in the Edge, which is why I like it as well.
That's a nice feature, Ms. Najah. I had to, because I know that crummy wallet, Jax, it had that feature, but the wallet was never stable. So I might, check the Edge out as a warm wallet myself.
Yeah, because if I'm sending $10 allowance, even though it's already a small transaction, I shouldn't be doing. But for the sake of the kids, that's what we do. We give our kids $10. Even when they take our classes, we give every child $10 in Bitcoin. But we just make the fee lower, and it just helps a little bit based on, what Lamar was talking about, output, input. So anyway, so just FYI.
Yes, the fee. I'm sorry, go ahead.
So you don't use Cash App at all for that purpose?
I just started using Cash App in January when I got on with the Black Bitcoin Billionaires, because we were talking about it, and I'm one of those people that won't tell anybody to try it until I've tried it myself, right?
Right.
So I started doing it, and every single time I got paid for coaching, or even if somebody wants to buy Bitcoin from us, like literally they'll send us Cash App, and I would just pull it out, put it in our account, and then we buy Bitcoin the way that we've been buying it. However, because of this experiment, I've been buying Bitcoin inside of Cash App with the money that people are buying Bitcoin with, just as a trial. And that's why I was sharing with you, once we got to a threshold, I realized I was making a big mistake just because of the amount. So as King Bless said, if you're going to do big amounts like that, you need to find a bigger platform that you can use, because Cash App is not the best for that. And I'm talking about bigger amounts, anything over $5,000, because the point is you want to have full custody of your coin. And even if you buy it on a Gemini or you buy it on a Kraken, you want to make sure that you're taking that 600 and putting it into your own wallet where you can have it nice and secure and safe, so that if anything happens to any of those exchanges, or they change in the middle of the night what their practices are, terms and services, you're covered, because nobody controls it. You have it. So,
got it. And then what?
I was going to have more clarification, because I think I think Ms. Najah was saying, if you're using like a wallet to transfer like your normal amounts, which are larger, using Edge, that would be a good way to go. But Cash App, if you're using that, it's perfectly fine. Also, you won't notice like a fee, drops from the fees when you transfer like that.
Okay.
At least I haven't. I don't know. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong.
And what threshold do you suggest moving from warm to cold?
we're suggesting as a group 1 million Satoshis. And that right now would be about $600 worth. That's what we're suggesting. And as the price of Bitcoin moves up and down, that number moves up and down. But we're talking of around about $600 before you begin to start moving, so that you just don't incur too many fees.
Okay. And are you guys trademarked?
Are you a trademark attorney?
I have one. So I was just, I just heard that you guys have merchandise out there and that sort of thing. And with this,
I do. And unfortunately, okay. I don't tell. I hear a lot of people using terms that I've trademarked. I actually called Lamar about this yesterday, because I have a bunch of things that are trademarked. And just because they're, people are in the group, I haven't said anything about. But yeah, everything we say, all of our slogans, all that stuff, we try to trademark. And I have some stuff I need to do today. That's why I asked you.
Okay, great. I just want to make sure that you guys are protected as well. So I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you as well.
Hey, so back to Facebook. Can y'all hear me now?
Yes, sir, we do.
Oh boy, I was over here talking. It's like we hear you, but they can't hear you. I was like, "What is going on?" But I must have when I put plug back in, it automatically put me on mute or something. So back over to Facebook. It says, "Wait, so Cash App is not a good place to get Bitcoin anymore?" No, they're saying for that gentleman who was getting a lot of Bitcoin, if you're buying hundreds of thousands of dollars of Bitcoin, Cash App is probably not the best place, even though they allow you to have that limit. The reason why is because you can only take off 5,000 at a time. And if Bitcoin appreciates, let's say you put 100,000 in, it goes up to $100,000. It's probably gonna take you something like 40 weeks to get. It's probably somebody came up washing dishes. It's probably gonna take you like 40 weeks to get your Cash App off of there. I mean, get your Bitcoin off of Cash App. So if you have large amounts, it's probably way better if you're going to buy large amounts, it's probably way better for you to be on something like a Binance.us or Gemini or Kraken or something like that. Because other than that, you're going to be spinning your wheels. So that was my answer to that question. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And next to the stage, we have Harlan. Harlan, welcome.
How y'all doing? First of all, thanks for having me up here. I want to say thank you guys for giving all the Bitcoin knowledge y'all give out. You know, the love connections y'all make in the comedy hour, and be able to rent your car, Miss Najah. So thanks for all of that. You guys are amazing. But I had a question for CJ. It was a tax question, but I see he dipped, so I have a different question. How can you leverage your crypto? Because basically being in the group with you guys listening, I pretty much changed my mindset of increasing my fiat and instead increasing my satoshis. So I'm trying to get my wife on board to invest more of our money into Bitcoin, because right now I invest my personal money and kind of leave our joint money where it is. But I'm trying to get her to get on board, but she wants to know the best way to leverage it. You know, because of course you got to keep a nest egg in case of emergencies and stuff like that. But right now, with not many platforms doing it, what's the best way to leverage your crypto?
I would say, like, if you need a nest egg and you feel like you need to keep that in fiat, so you know, just in case you can pay bills and stuff, I would say, not really a nest egg, like an emergency fund. I would say keep that emergency fund, then start stacking your sats, right? Or do them both at the same time. But the sats, leave them alone. Like, don't touch your sats. But that's not a should. I shouldn't say that like it's a should. But, I mean, that's what I would think, because you just got to remember they're only going to make 21 million Bitcoin. And even if it's an emergency, having Satoshis makes you think twice about what's an emergency. It makes you really think twice. Like, am I really going to dig into these Satoshis, into this Bitcoin that has risen so much, to go get a new transmission? And the reason why I'm saying that is because I've been there. I was the guy that spent 2 Bitcoin to get something fixed on my truck, and guess what? I don't have that piece, that part I spent the money on, or the truck anymore. And when I think about 2 Bitcoin and look at what the value is of it today, that was a very expensive transmission. So I'm like, for me, it's more about, if you think you need to have that emergency fund, yeah, save up your emergency fund, get that going, and then use the money that you messing around with, your coffee money. If you getting supersized or something like that, stop getting so many supersizes and go ahead and get you supersize up on your sats. You know what I mean?
No, I got that. I'm pretty much we have the nest egg. We got the couple months of emergency fund and all that. But I was just thinking of ways that it could be leveraged now in case we had to dip into that, instead of leaving it in the savings and collecting less than 1% interest. Which ways you can leverage it and get to it a little quicker. So basically what I'm doing, I'm using anything that I get personally. I'm dumping, like, my whole stimulus, that's going straight into crypto. Like, all of that stuff is, me personally, is going straight into crypto. And I'm just leaving our joint money for the house untouched.
So Harlan, what you're saying is you're trying to convince your wife to take the savings and put it into Bitcoin. Is that what you're saying? You want us to tell you how to convince your wife?
Nah. Not even all of it.
Because you're married,
to figure out now. Absolutely. No, we're trying to figure out now what's that actual number we want to keep. Because I'm trying to get to whatever number we need to keep. That's what we keep, and then everything else going to be in the Bitcoin. because I had alts. I've kind of been in this space since 2017 and dibbled and dabbled, but now, like I said, I see that I was losing out on some money by gaining fiat, but at the same time, I was losing out on, my holdings of BTC. So now I'm changing my mindset to do it the right way.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though, Harlan. The money that you're leaving in the bank, right? You realize that it's losing value, right? So our whole thing is opportunity cost of money. Where can you place your money at where it can hold the majority of its value? And if you can tell me another place that's better than Bitcoin, I'm all ears, brother.
No, I think that even my kids, I gotta go ahead.
No, I was saying from what I hear, it seems that your wife needs to kind of come to the understanding that you have already come to. So my suggestion, I have maybe I don't know, I do something free for couples. It takes about 20 minutes. It's called Couples in Crypto, so that you can kind of bring her kind of up to speed to where you are or where you may be. So just reach out to me. I'll do that for you and your wife.
That's lovely. We already I think I already started the KYC process on the crypto plug, and even with my kids, I got a 5, a 2, and an 8-month-old, and I got them TD Ameritrade accounts and start buying stocks, but I don't even want to do that anymore. So what do y'all suggest for kids, in crypto? Because I want to start moving stuff over to my kids too.
Well, Charlene. Yeah, go ahead, Charlene.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Najah. Hey, Harlan. I love your question. Let me tell you just quickly. So I'm married. I have 2 kids, and you hear my 2. I had a thing for luxury bags and shoes, but I'm selling them to buy crypto, actually to buy Bitcoin. So tell your wife that, because in terms of a store of value, I don't even need those bags anymore. So there's that. And then as far as kids, we have a room that is on Thursdays from 4 to 6, where we talk about how to teach Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies to kids. It's Eastern Standard Time, and I welcome you to come to that room. And I'm also teaching kids. If you go to my bio, there's a website called guidifykids.com. And we're teaching kids from the ages 4 to 18 about the history of money, and then also about how to get started in crypto. So I'd love to have you in our classes.
Will do. And
Harlan, let me say this really quick to you, Doc. I know what you're talking about. And somebody on Facebook is asking the same question, so let me go ahead and answer them both and then close up Facebook. On Facebook, they said, are there banks or financial outlets that accept Bitcoin as collateral currently? This conversation is thought-provoking. So, but there are financial institutions that are taking Bitcoin as collateral. The problem is that what they do is they actually take your Bitcoin. So you have to send your Bitcoin to them, and then what they do is rehypothecate it, which means they use the Bitcoin you gave them for collateral, and they'll take that Bitcoin and go lend it out to hedge funds, right? Or they'll when you're trying to get interest on it, that's exactly what they're doing. They're taking your Bitcoin and going to lend it out to people who are going to try to make more money on it. So they're giving you a certain return back, and then they're lending it out. So those are 2 ways that people are leveraging their Bitcoin. The problem is that because you gave them your Bitcoin, you gave it to them at a number, and I think we talked about this a little bit earlier. You gave it to them at a number that if they insured it, it would be, let's say you gave them 1 Bitcoin right now, and it's 60,000. And so at 60,000, that's how much you collateralized, and you got so much of a percentage back. And they took your Bitcoin and gave it to someone else, and that other person lost your Bitcoin, or they lost the Bitcoin that they were given. Then when they come back to you and they say, well, listen, they lost your Bitcoin, you have a claim, they're only going to give you $60,000. And let's say during that time period, the price raised to $80,000. Now you can't go back in the open market and get the same $80,000 worth. I mean, you can't get the same amount of Bitcoin because you only have $60,000. So you can't get a whole Bitcoin back. You see what I'm saying? So you literally lost Bitcoin. Or you could lose 100% of it depending on if they don't really have good insurance. So most of these things, the way you're talking about leveraging it, they're only going to give you 4%, 7%, 6%. And why would you give up 200%, right? 200% annualized return, which is what Bitcoin has returned over the last 10 years, just to get an additional 6 to 7%. Now, what the gentleman's asking on Facebook are banks. The thing is that when banks start to do it, and if they don't make you give up your Bitcoin, then that may be a great way to actually use your Bitcoin to borrow.
That's the way I'm speaking of it.
Yeah, but the banks aren't doing it yet, right? And everybody else who's doing it is making you give up your Bitcoin. So giving up your Bitcoin is pretty steep, bro, because I've seen many platforms die. I've seen many platforms get hacked. And if you giving up your Bitcoin and handing them over to people, you putting yourself in jeopardy. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm talking in the terms of cold storage, like how you can like stake something out of cold storage or something like that. I don't want to give up none of my like Bitcoin. That's why even in 2018, I stopped buying crypto with Bitcoin and Ethereum. I only buy it with USD.
Right.
Because of the taxable transactions and stuff like that. I didn't want to create those.
Right.
So I just only buy it with USD.
Right.
I didn't want to give up my Bitcoin to do it.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Is that's the same thing, man. So to get leverage on it, here's the whole thing people got to understand. If somebody's going to give you a yield on something, that means there's risk involved. Period. Like they wouldn't give you a yield if it was not risky. There is some sort of risk involved by them giving you a percentage back on what you gave them. And because of that, you got to be very careful and ask yourself, am I willing to put up with the amount of risk, even though I know I have an asset that is already returning? And that's it's like everything we say, that's an individual decision. So the guy on Facebook said, understood, thanks. So Harlan, I'm just saying that to you. That's an individual decision, right? I think
I got you.
Yeah, I think the easiest thing to do is just keep stacking, man. Let Bitcoin do what it's gonna do. I wouldn't worry about leveraging it too much, you know what I mean? Just because that adds more risk to something that is inherently not that risky.
It seems like what I'm asking for is something that's like into the future, because I don't want to give it up to leverage it. I want to hold it in my cold storage and leverage it that way. And I don't want to keep my money in the savings.
Got you.
And just depreciate when I can put it in Bitcoin and let it appreciate. So it's like something I'm asking for now. So like it's coming in the future. It's just not out right now.
Yeah, so you got the banks that can do it, but I'm gonna go one step further, and there's something called the Lightning Network where you can actually control your funds. And the Lightning Network, if you run what's called a routing node, you can get a percentage back in the fees that go through your routing node. Now the Lightning Network is not completely built out yet. It's not at the level of which a lot of people would think, but we had a gentleman in who was running some Lightning nodes, and he said he was making about 4% a year. Now, 4% a year on his Bitcoin for him not giving up his keys is pretty cool. Like if you think about it, you know what I'm saying? That's pretty cool. But
that's not bad.
Yeah, but that's all you're gonna get when you go to like BlockFi. They only gonna give you like 3 or 4% on your Bitcoin, but you got to give up.
But they want your Bitcoin.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I was telling him, because he was like, man, I'm not really making a lot, but I'm like 4% on your money is good money, and you ain't giving up your keys. Like that's a good thing, but it's to each their own, right? Like that takes a little bit more technical knowledge and know-how and setup and all of those things to get your Lightning node running, get your Lightning routing nodes running, and you got to do some things where you fill back up the accounts. But I'm not gonna get too deep into it, but there are some things that you can do to actually get some more return on your Bitcoin. And as the Lightning as the Lightning Network grows, you might get to a point where you're making a lot more money. You know what I mean? But right now, from a Bitcoin perspective, the easiest thing to do is like somebody just said on Facebook. I'm gonna put that quote up. Stack sats, period. That's what she said. Stack sats, period. Just make it easy, man. So yeah, good question though, Harlan. And with that said, let me go ahead and start closing down. Facebook. I'd like to thank everybody for being here today on Facebook. Let's see. My music ain't going, so there it goes. What's going on? So this is the Black Bitcoin Billionaires Club, the Genesis block this morning. This is Lamar Wilson. We do this every Monday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern. Make sure you tune in for a bunch of great experts on stage. Thank you, Facebook, for listening in. We promise to get this equipment a little bit better. This is already a hack what I'm doing, but it works just fine enough. And we will definitely be back next week at 11 o'clock a.m. Make sure y'all tune in. Stick and stay with us. We're going to get better and better as we go. Thank you very much. And I'm about to send it back to the beautiful Miss Queen Najah so she can keep the Clubhouse thing going. Remember, when you get on Clubhouse, find the Black Bitcoin Billionaires Club. Make sure you join the club, follow the club, so that you can get involved in these after shows and everything else that we're doing and all the other amazing educational opportunities we have during the week. So thank you very much, and that is it. Live love, love life. If you live love, you will love your life.